If they can hit you, they can submit you. And most people don't even realize when they're in danger because your structure is already broken and your body mechanics is telling your opponent exactly how to beat you. The easiest way to tell the difference between a trained and untrained opponent is their head, how they move it or how they don't. If you ever see someone who doesn't know how to fight, it's very stiff, and in fighting terms, it's constantly on the line. They're leaving it in a position where even a blind man should be able to get a hold of it. Your head is a limb just like any other part of your body, and it can be used to help you gain control or position over your opponent. But just like every other limb of your body, it's a liability, where if you leave it out there, easy for people to strike or get a hold of, they most certainly will, whether they intended to or not. One of the biggest mistakes I see in grappling is where people come into a guard where they're standing, but they're completely bent over, leaving their head exposed for their opponent to start to attack. In MMA, this wouldn't fly because they'd immediately get hit in the face. So how do they engage an opponent who's on their back able to strike them? They take a stance leading with their legs first, not their head. Then they build their grips up from there, able to get the pass and start to grapple into position. If this methodology works when striking is involved, why wouldn't it work when striking is not involved? Just because they can't punch you in the face, that doesn't mean you're not exposing yourself to other submissions or just simply unbalancing yourself, allowing them to sweep you over. Positioning is one of the key factors that determines whether or not your base is compromised. Don't make it a liability. You can take a strike or an attack to pretty much any part of your body, but if your head gets attacked, it could be lights out, figuratively and literally. One of the easiest ways to start learning how to use your head is by using it to help you balance and keep a pin, specifically with side control. If your opponent starts to rock you over and your arms are indisposed because they're pinning your opponent, you should use your head to catch your balance so you don't fall over. Whenever you're engaging with your opponent from standing, you always want to make sure that you have a strong base, where your head and your shoulders are over your hips and you're not overextending yourself. Just because your opponent's laying on the mat, that suddenly doesn't change that dynamic. If you engage with your opponent from standing bent over, they'll easily shuck you and pull you to the ground. The same's true when they're on their back and they have guard. Only this time when you fall over, you'll be falling into their submission. That's why using your head when you're pummeling is a necessary skill. Not only that, you should be using your head to help you engage your pin, specifically side control and back control, pushing against them, not leaving your head exposed. While it sucks having part of your body under your opponent's control, realizing whether or not they can immediately attack you should give you a sense of urgency about what you should do. If they're just collar tying your head, generally you're fine. If they have strong control on the back of your skull, and especially if they have any part of their arm under your chin, you need to stop what you're doing, break that control and not continue. I've lost count of how many times I've gotten a choke on my opponent by simply having a crosshand lapel grip and letting them pass my guard, snatching up a loop choke or an Ezekiel. They didn't realize my wrist being on their throat was a threat, and they continued to move forward, driving right into the choke. So in summary, when you start training jiu-jitsu, you're going to be awkward like a baby deer learning how to walk. Every one of your limbs, including your head, is going to be a liability. But much like with your head, how you learn how to engage them with your opponent, you have to learn how to engage your head as well. One of the easiest ways to do that is by doing simple pummeling and wrestling drills. Pummeling isn't just for your arms. Your head should be touching and pushing against their shoulders or their head as well. Stop compromising your base and position just because your opponent has guard. And more importantly, when you're in a match, don't move like your neck's locked up as if you were Michael Keaton Batman.